I never thought I would miss feeling sad. I never thought it could be wrong to wish my misery away. If only I had known the damage it would cause. The damage it would inflict on others, all to take my own pain away. All I can feel now is the same numbness I felt when it started to unravel, when I made that mistake, that terrible mistake. I don't know if I can ever feel normal again. All this, because I couldn't cope with my own feelings, because when I saw that damn ad, I had to know if it was real. I had to know if someone could really take my misery away. A few months ago, I was in a really bad spot in my life. I had just arrived at work on Monday morning, tired but ready to start the work week. Unfortunately, I, along with dozens of other employees, found out the hard way that layoffs were occurring. We had shown up to a locked office and a note by our branch manager, Mr. Fleming, who did not have the courage to tell us in person that our services were no longer required. My now former co-workers and I stood outside the locked building in shock and disbelief. My friend Josh, who started around the same time I had, looked as if he were about to spiral into a nervous fit. I tried to reassure him, though admittedly I was just as nervous about what would happen next. Hey man, it's alright. We will get through this. I know we will find something else soon. He just stood impassively and stared. He was normally so happy, and seeing him that upset was rough. Josh finally looked up at me, managed a weak smile, and responded, "Yeah, I know. You're probably right. It's not the end of the world." He stood there for another long moment, then shambled back to his car. I realized I should do the same and followed suit. I was not sure what to do, so I just decided to head home. While driving back to my apartment, I was still attempting to process what had just happened. The random callousness of it made me furious. Not just for myself, but all the people whose livelihoods were upended. I had moved out of state to accept that job. My parents supported me and did not want me to leave right out of school, but they understood what a good opportunity it was. Now I was nearly 1,000 miles away from home with no career to justify it. I started to spiral, but I calmed myself down. At least I had Sarah. She would understand. We could get through anything together. I still didn't know what I was going to tell her. I loved her and didn't want to disappoint her, but I knew I couldn't hide the news. I considered texting her, but I decided I would tell her in person. While driving, I missed a call from my dad. I listened to the message he left, and it was about my mom's 50th birthday party again. He wanted to know if I would be able to make it. I had wanted to, but had not really planned on it. Money was tight, and I was also squirreling away a bit of cash from each paycheck to buy a ring for Sarah. I thought my mom would understand and approve of the choice. But I felt even worse knowing everything would have to be put on hold while I searched for a new job. When I got back home, I was surprised to see my friend Liam's car parked in my spot. I rationalized that he might just be dropping off the tools he had borrowed last week and that he might also be visiting with Sarah. We had all been friends for a while, so at the time I didn't think anything of it. I figured I might as well tell him the bad news while I was at it. I parked in a guest spot and went upstairs, working up the courage to tell everyone that things were about to get a lot more difficult. I never had to break the news the way I was expecting. Instead, I went inside to find clothes lying on the floor and sounds coming from the bedroom. I have a dim memory of being angry, but I cannot remember the exact feeling I had when I opened the door and saw the two of them in bed together. I remember the surprise, the shouting, the indignation. I remember Sarah crying and shouting at me, while Liam grabbed his stuff and apologized before fleeing the scene. Sarah tried to talk to me, to explain. I don't remember what she said. I grabbed a bag of my stuff and left. All the while, the words bled into the background like white noise. I remember being in such a hurry to leave that I tripped on the stairs and fell. I caught myself before I was seriously hurt, but my phone was badly cracked. I stared dumbly at the screen and thought the deep fissure along the surface was a perfect symbol of how my life was going. I had cracked too. As I drove away, I finally let the implications of what had happened settle into my heart and mind. I knew I shouldn't be driving in the state I was in, but I had to get away. After traveling aimlessly for almost an hour, I decided to check into a cheap motel and spend the afternoon processing everything that the day had thrown at me. Once the initial surge of emotion had subsided, some creeping pragmatic concerns popped into my head. The first of which was, what would I do for work now? I knew I needed a new job, but I couldn't focus. I couldn't get the question out of my head. Why? Why was this all happening now? I could get a new job, but Sarah. She and I were supposed to be together. I thought we could get through anything. Then I thought about Liam, my best friend, someone who I always thought would have my back and never let me down. The betrayal by both the people I trusted most was profound. I remember alternating between hopelessness and visceral, but ultimately impotent anger. When I was more composed and ready to handle things again, I set about looking for a new job and a place to stay. I started looking online for listings, and after hours of fruitless searching, it started to feel hopeless. That's when I saw it, something strange but interesting. It was an ad offering the most bizarre sales pitch I had ever heard of. It read, "Is life weighing you down? Are your problems too much to handle? Is misery hanging over you like a storm cloud ready to burst? If so, then I would like to help. I promise I can fix your woes and give you a bit of green for your troubles as well. I want to buy your misery. No emotion is too tumultuous, no memory is too painful. The more traumatic the better. Let me ease that burden and pay you cash. Just call the misery merchant today and we will solve your problems." It sounded like some sort of joke. Money for misery. How the hell could someone buy misery? But there was a phone number listed below in the odd advertisement. I couldn't believe it. Yet despite how insane the ad was, a part of me was desperate enough, just crazy enough to consider calling that number. I felt silly for even attempting it, but I figured it might make me feel better and give me a laugh listening to some crazy person explain how they could take my misery away. I dialed the number, and the line was picked up almost immediately. A cheery voice answered, "Your very own misery merchant Sullivan here. How can I help you feel better today?" I was almost surprised someone had answered. I decided to play along and see where this was all going. "Yes, hello, I was calling because I have had a lot of bad things happen in my life lately. You said you could buy someone else's misery. The man responded immediately, almost giddy with excitement. Oh yes, indeed I can. Always happy to hear from another prospective client. Let's turn that frown upside down. Come on down to our office on 1446 4th Avenue and we will get this all sorted out for you. Just bring your pain and I'll make it rain. The man hung up abruptly and I was confused by the sales pitch. It had to be some sort of a joke. He hadn't asked for any of my information. I decided to look up the address he gave and saw it was office space that had frequently changed hands. Since my job hunting was hitting a wall and I had nothing else better to do, I decided to head down and meet this misery merchant. I wanted to see if I could at least make some mo.